Welcome back to the Freelance Network podcast, everybody, a podcast by content creators for content creators. So I am Luke, joined with my co-hosts, Cassie and Will. How you guys doing?
I am Will.
How are you doing?
I'm Will. I'm good.
Doing swell.
I'm wearing a Groot fit as what?
A grout fit.
A grout fit. I am Groot.
He is not Groot.
You are not Groot. How are you doing, Cassie?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
I'm getting my ass kicked by finals, so
Yeah.
as well as I can do for finals week.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
But today, we have a very lovely guest. This is actually a guest that was one of the reasons why I wanted to make this podcast in the first place, because this guy does wacky stuff. So this is Steve Reynolds, everybody. Steve, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Alrighty, Steve. So first off, this is kind of like an initiation thing of like everybody that comes on the podcast. We like to ask them, how did you get into content creating? Like it could be your first memory of like filming something or just how you got into it in general.
So I kind of started out with like theater. I started in like 5th grade, so I just kind of loved entertainment, I guess. But then in high school, I met my buddy Mitch Marsico, who, you guys know him, but he's a content creator himself, and he did like stage crew and everything, so that's how I met him. And he wanted to do a video for like EHT's film festival, and we did something called Jersey Noir, and it was really bad, but that's what's going to come out of high school. So that was like the first kind of video that I was in. And I was like, I love this. You can try things a bunch of times. It's not like theater. You can just try new things constantly and then just pick the best one. So that kind of like opened my mind to film. After high school, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into theater and I'm going to do hospitality management. And then I did 1 semester of that and I was like, this is not for me. This isn't who I am anymore. This is like not what I want to do. I want to be behind the scenes. I want to make stuff. I want to be the creator. That kind of just brought me into film.
It's awesome.
I guess.
Yeah. No, I know. Some of the things that Luke has shown me that you've done, you have like a very specific kind of like niche in your films. You want to talk about like what kind of films you make?
Sure, yeah. So I work with a lot of like practical effects, I guess. I loved Star Wars like my whole life. I won't talk about the prequels though because they kind of shoved practical effects to the side. So, but I love practical effects. So I love puppeteering. I love creating puppets. Something that I did with a local band is a music video where it's like just sock puppets of each of the band members. And that was like a lot of fun. You mentioned it in the other podcast, but I did with Mitch. We did Sock Wars, which is now a whole other YouTube channel that kind of like ripped us off, but we did it first, so it's fine. But we did a shot-for-shot recreation of Han Solo's death scene. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
But yeah, I kind of love practical effects. I like stuff that's kind of like out there too. I want stuff to, kind of resonate like weird with people. I want them to be like, what did I just watch?
Well, I remember because the way we met was we both took a video production course together, and the project was silent films, and you and I both went with like Charlie Chaplin, like 30 style silent, like nobody else in the class did.
Yeah.
And like I feel like it's kind of like a easy thing to gravitate towards, but you and I were the only ones that did.
Yeah.
And like I was cracking up at yours, like yours was hilarious, and that was the first time I ever saw Nico in a video too.
Yeah,
he was a
Nico's
very funny actor.
My reoccurring actor usually.
Yeah. But yeah, and then later in that class, you made Sock Wars, and like in that video, there's like lights and like smoke machines, and like the socks have lightsabers, like they have their own lightsabers. It was.
Is there anywhere I can like watch this film?
Yes.
In the link in the video description.
Oh yes. So we have our content kind of like sprawled across in like a lot of channels.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was it? Visual and practical effects. Like, how did you like first start like learning that, and then how did you kind of start getting into that?
It's very kind of like DIY. Like we watched a video. It's a great video. It's got Adam Savage from Mythbusters, and he goes to like the people who did Avenue Q, who are like from Jim Henson. They're kind of like a sister company with them. I forget their name, but he worked with them and made like his own puppet, and it kind of opened our eyes to like how DIY like Muppets and like these professional Broadway puppets are. It's literally foam, cardboard, hot glue, and, you know, a few stitches. So that kind of was like, all right, let's try making a puppet. So we made like a giant blue, like Cookie Monster looking puppet. And that was like our first thing. We were like, all right, we're going to make a show with this. It never came, never came of anything. But yeah, we made this big puppet, and we've used it for a lot of other things. It's been used in the music video that I mentioned before. But yeah, that kind of sparked our love for puppeteering and practical effects. So from there, we were like, all right, let's make sock puppets. Let's make this. Let's make that. And it really is just DIY.
What would you say is like one of the most challenging parts about working with visual effects?
With visual effects, do you mean like animation? Do you mean
anything?
Okay. Well, I'll talk about animation a little bit. So I did an animation alongside Mitch again. We used a program called Animator, Adobe Animator, and Character. They're pretty cool. You just have to draw something in Illustrator or Photoshop. You plug it into the program, and it like scans your face, and you can just talk, and it'll move for you. So in that sense, it's almost like puppeteering, you know, a cartoon. Something else we did was rotoscoping. That's what I'd say is the biggest challenge. That's literally tracing a video, like frame by frame. So that's extremely difficult because you want to get it right. You want to get it to look smooth. So I'd say that was my biggest challenge with the one animation that we did.
Why don't you talk about that animation a little? Because it started out with the competition, right?
It did, yes. So that started out for the Spliff competition, which is in Colorado, Oregon, a few other, you know, classic pothead states, essentially. But it's called the Spliff because it was by stoners for stoners. That was like kind of what they were selling across. So we were like, all right, let's make this as out there as we can. Turns out we made it a little too out there. They ended up rejecting our video, but we still had a great time with it. That follows me and Mitch, essentially. Steve and Pete. His actual name is Peter Mitchell. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
But he came up with the idea to make this kind of like channel called Zonked, where it's like almost like Adult Swim, like an outlet for people to find something wacky, something stupid, and just watch it. And that's kind of how Zonked started. So we made that, and it's just like, oh, you know, two guys who got to pay their rent, something so simple like that, and it turns into this kind of trippy, wacky adventure.
Yeah, I'd say it gets a lot weirder, like right after the part where they're like, "Oh no, we have to pay for our rent."
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It
It's where
gets
it like
weird.
goes downhill.
Yep.
We were actually at a film festival the first time I saw it because you submitted it to I forget the name of it. It was like a film gala, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we were in a theater full of like, well, not only people but his parents seeing it for the first time.
Oh yeah, they loved it.
Yeah, it was well, like he said, it got rejected for being very out there, and it certainly was, but it was wildly entertaining.
Thank
I
you.
think.
Yeah, I thought it was real. I mean, I guess it put me on like the thing that you wanted it to be, like just like totally thinking like the totally like opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like career-wise, what grade are you in? Are you
I'm a senior.
Okay, so you're
You graduating
graduating.
in the spring?
In spring, yep.
Yeah,
Ooh.
so we're all graduating.
You all walk
We're gonna
together.
we're gonna hold
Yeah.
hand and skip down.
Yeah,
right.
that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Can't wait.
So career-wise, do you see yourself more of like a filmmaker, or do you consider yourself like an animator? Like, what do you want to do?
I'm still asking myself that question. But
As most of us are.
Yeah.
exactly. I don't know. So I've started the TV production class this year, and I'm doing the TV production internship next semester. I've kind of fallen in love with studio work, honestly. As weird as that sounds, I just really like being like behind what, you know, happens on screen, like the stuff that nobody sees. I kind of like stuff like that. Is that a career I want? No. But I say that now, you know.
Yeah.
I want to be able to like create things and like kind of express my ideas and my visions in some way, but I don't know. It could be in animating, it could be in graphic design, just anything visual communications. That's kind of where I see myself. But
Yeah.
Who inspired you to really like go into like animation? Like growing up and just watching cartoons, I guess that's like what we all did here.
Yeah, cartoons did a lot. I also just love graphic design and like artwork. I was very inspired by like street art a lot. My sister lives up in New York. She lived in an area called Bushwick. That's a really cool area. You should check it
I
out.
feel like I heard that name before, like just recently.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's very like cliche hipster. Like there's amazing street art there and just like building tall murals. It's really incredible. So that actually got me into self-teaching Adobe Illustrator. And then that stemmed into Mitch reaching out to me and being like, do you want to design the characters for an animation I have an idea for? So he did like the rough draft of them, and then I drew them so that he could plug them into the program. And then from there, he was like, yeah, I think it'd be funny if we had like a live action shot and you rotoscope it. So Mitch is actually the reason why I'm like starting to try to animate and do more stuff like that. But yeah, definitely some cartoons. I gotta say it, I hate Butch Hartman.
Oh yeah,
The elephant
yeah.
in the
I
room.
think he
So
sucks.
yeah, to preface that, he was the one who asked us about our favorite animators on our Q&A episode. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, poor Will.
Please,
Poor
yeah.
Will.
You know,
gonna go
he's
cry in the
an
bathroom
artist. He's a brilliant animator, but he I don't know. I think he's kind of going off the deep end a little.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, in Fairly Odd Parents, he just started adding a new family member every 2
Exactly.
seasons.
And then they just canned the entire series. I
Yep.
was like,
Yep.
aw.
and then he
Yep.
cried about it.
Yeah. He made Danny Phantom, though.
He did make Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom is fantastic.
Yes.
I will admit.
So there's some points for Butch Hartman, Will.
Yeah.
So then, who is your favorite animator?
I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if
asked
he's
us.
Technically an animator, and I might butcher his last name, but Jack Stauber. He's technically more like a claymation artist. He does a lot of claymation, but he also does like 3D and 2D animation, just not as frequently. But he's really really.
What has he
interesting.
done?
He it's a lot of like short videos, like a minute long usually. But he was featured on Adult Swim for some bumpers, and he was on one of the Adult Swim off the air videos too. But he's really incredible. He's very inspirational because he blends real life with animation, which is something we try to do in Zonked too, with the Nico character. He's like got a huge head that we filmed on a green screen, and then we filmed his body separately, also on a green screen, and we blended it together and just kind of threw it in this animated world, and we loved it. You know, we loved the look, and he does a lot of that too, which is really cool. He's a great artist.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So now you've been talking about Mitch, who's kind of like your partner in crime.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about his senior film and like what your role in it was?
That was a lot of fun. So his senior film was very much like Dark Crystal or like The Never-Ending Story. Again, very practical, very real life. Not a lot of like special effects, but a lot of practical effects. So big kudos to him for that. He was really creative, making a unique story for something that feels like it's from like the 80s, something that feels old. But in that, I played alongside Nico. We were two like swamp creatures. Nico looked a lot like Shrek, which was funny, so we kept calling him Shrek. But I was like this like nasty little swamp thing who had like a weird like almost Australian accent. And I was like, yeah, you know, it was weird. I had super long hair at the time too, so I was like super frizzy. He had a great special effects artist. Her name's Dano. Shout out to her. But she does a lot of like makeup. She went to school for all that and everything. But she did a great job making us look as disgusting as possible.
Well, when you showed us the pictures, I was like, that doesn't look like you.
Yeah.
Like he looked like a troll straight up. I was like, what? Because I didn't even know you acted at that point too either. I was like, look at Steve. Look at him. Look at him go. Full makeup and everything.
well-rounded.
Yes.
I'm a wild card.
Yes, you are a wild card, certainly. And now that experience, now you weren't as much in control because it wasn't your film. Like, what was that like?
Right. I mean, I trust everything Mitch does. You know, but there were definitely moments too where we were on set and we'd kind of like be joking in the background or something, and Mitch would be like, "Oh, that's great. Do that." Like on set. Like we even have a scene where Nico like gets up and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go take a piddle." And he goes and like, there's a sound effect of him like peeing on his own boot. Like, it's just ridiculous stuff like that. But that's Mitch's mind. He's very creative, so I trust everything he does and every decision that he makes. I'm like, yep, brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll follow it.
So then for you, like another common thing we like to ask everybody is like, what's your motivation to keep making what you do? Because especially like, I mean, all of us, we thought of animations that we liked, but like we've never taken the step to learn the animating programs or that. Like for you, like what keeps you going doing that stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question because animating is definitely really, really tough. I'm a big hiker too, so I'm going to kind of relate it to that. It's like hiking up a mountain. It's tough, it's hard, it's tiring, but it is so rewarding when you're at the top. So it's really the same with kind of our content. Like Zonked was really tough. We ran into a lot of like roadblocks. Nico, for example, we filmed his entire section in like 30 minutes. He was interning in Washington at the time. He was down for like just the weekend or something, and our schedules weren't lining up. We had 30 minutes. We were like, all right, let's do this. Let's get it done. And it was tough. It was challenging, but we got it done. And that was also filmed like a week before it was due for the Spliff Festival.
Oh, wow.
So we ran into a lot of roadblocks, but, you know, climbing that mountain felt really, really good after.
How long did it take to make Zonked?
Oh, man. That's tough. So we kind of did it over a wide span of time. But after Mitch did the original designs of the characters, that was just a matter of tracing them, cleaning them up a little bit, making sure they were like separated properly for the program. But that took about a week. Throwing it into the actual program, that was Mitch's side. I think that also took him about a week, but he was working like nonstop, like up all night. Yeah, the rotoscope actually took me 2 days, and that was also just like nonstop, just like individual drawing. So it did take a while. I don't have the exact amount of time, but I'd say somewhere around like 2 or 3 weeks.
And that's just on one 4-minute video.
Yeah.
But you can see it shows like there's a lot of hard work put into that. And hopefully there's more episodes coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
I've been desperately waiting for the next one.
Yeah, you know, animating takes a while. I have been working alongside Nico actually for the next Zonked video. So I won't say too much about it, but it's going to be about a spider.
Ooh. Getting a little inside tea here.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that too, like, do you have anything else going on that you're working on?
Well, if I can plug this actually real quick, this is really funny. So, there's a movie. It's like The Room, but South Jersey.
Oh, God.
And it's called Bad Ben. Have any of you ever heard of it?
It sounds very familiar.
Okay, cool.
I don't know much about it, but it sounds like I've heard it before.
Okay, then that's already awesome. But it's got like a huge cult following, and it's just this guy who thought he was making a really good like horror movie, like a found footage film. And he put it on Amazon Prime because you can do that. And it got a following because it was so funny. Like, it's just this guy all alone. He's got a real thick South Jersey, like, Philly accent. So that's already, like, very unique, very funny. And it's so painfully slow. But that just adds to the comedy. So he kind of realized, like, all right, I get the joke. They think it's funny. So he's continued making these films ever since. So Mitch has a professor at UArts who actually knew him. So he actually hooked up Mitch with them, and they did like the 3rd movie with him. They helped as like crew members, and then they acted in the 7th movie. I know there's 7
There's
of these
7 of
movies.
them. Wow.
It's like Sharknado.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's exactly like it's Sharknado, but South Jersey.
Wow.
And horror.
That's a great tagline.
Exactly. But he's currently working on another little feature. It should be coming out around Christmas time, and me and Nico are working with him on that.
Ooh.
So that's pretty exciting.
Should we find that on Amazon Prime?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I highly
Catch up on the
suggest.
first
Yeah,
7.
you got to watch all 7 films. I'll tell you what, the
How long
second
are they?
film isn't as good because it's a prequel.
Yeah, how long are those?
Some of them are like 2 hours. Some of them are 1 hour.
Oh my goodness.
Well, if I get snowed in, I know I'm going to be watching these.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfect sick day activity. Watch all 7 of them.
That's awesome.
Binge Bad Ben.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to like ask you more about the TV production side.
Sure.
Since you're doing the internship for the TV production, do you feel that like that studio work stuff kind of like hinders creativity because you're working on other people's projects, or do you think it like brings out students' abilities more?
I think it depends. So I'll be doing the internship next semester, but with the class, I will say like, I was like, oh man, we got to do a news show, we got to do a talk show. I was like, I want to do a game show, but that never came of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yes and no. We're working on the talk show now, and we have like a lot of creativity that we can input to it. Our producer has been pretty great too with letting us kind of do whatever we want with it, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody else is really passionate about their idea, which he is, and I wanted to do a game show, not a talk show, but whatever. But he's really passionate about his talk show, and I think that's cool. Like I'll be happy to help you make that happen. So if somebody else's idea can get made into a reality, I think it's fine. But I do sometimes think like, man, I wish we could kind of do whatever we want.
Well, do you think that you would be able to pull off a game show in the tiny little studio that we have down there? Is that like, because you're actually talking to the assistant producer of your internship.
Okay.
So I can,
Inside
if you have an idea
Mhm.
like that, and you think that it will actually be able to be pulled off like during that internship as like a mock thing,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to take your idea and like co-write it so we can have it made.
Okay.
And I want students to be able to show their creativity through this internship. Like, I don't want it to be like, because a lot of students go to this internship and they're like, oh, well, I'm just putting my name on somebody else's project, like whatever. Like, I want these students to walk away and have something that they're proud of. So if you honestly think that you want to make a game show in that thing and it's okay with Mike and Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
we can probably make that a thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
I
we
think it
just
could work.
witnessed a moment, everybody.
I think
This
so
is
too.
called
We gonna
networking.
remember this. We're gonna see a game show next semester and then just show the clip of this at the beginning and be like, this is where the idea came from.
This is how it
This
happened.
is how it happened.
Yes, yeah.
Freelance Network
These were the
Podcast,
baby
subscribe.
steps.
I know. It just hurts my heart because I love that internship so much, and then I see people like, oh, I'm just doing the internship, like,
Right.
People
'cause
just
I
hating
am.
on the internship too.
For no
Yeah.
reason.
There's no reason. It's great. It's a great internship, but I understand like a lot of people don't want to do studio work because it's not their creative minds. They're just working the equipment, but
Well, I mean, to be fair though, it's just another track of it. It's like how you don't
Yeah.
like making films. That's
Yeah.
not what you do. That's what I do. It's cool. I mean, as long as you're doing something you enjoy, it's like I've thought like how many times like I want to make a Star Wars movie, but I don't know how to do the visual effects and that kind of stuff. It's so hard. But that's what you do, and I think that's what's so cool is like you and your group of people, like you guys pull that stuff off. Like for real, that music video too with the puppets is hilarious. And like when you look at the band members, you can see which one is which puppet. Like it's like the little details go a long way. And like
you.
I can't wait for people who watch this to check out afterwards, because like I remember showing the link to Sock Wars to like 20 people, just texting me like, look at this, like knowing they're a big Star Wars fan, being like, this is gonna make you crack up, because it's like the Harry Potter puppet pals that went viral in like
Exactly.
2009. Like that video was hilarious, but all it was sock puppets of Harry Potter characters.
Yeah.
And then also with Zonked, I remember I showed some of our professors that video because you didn't
Oh,
want to.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but remember, our one professor, he was like, "This is great." Like, he thought it was hilarious, and like, I mean, so many people get enjoyment out of this stuff, and I think it's cool that you dedicate so much time to doing it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm touched.
For anyone trying to get into like drawing or even trying to make like their own shorts for cartoons and all that, or even sock puppets, well, do you have any like advice for them trying to get their foot in the door, or even try to grab the motivation to like keep on doing what they're doing?
Yeah. So, advice-wise, I'd say don't be afraid to copy things. The first video that kind of got me into practical effects as much as it did was literally a shot-for-shot scene out of Star Wars. It was a copy. But, that kind of gives you the ability to learn how to do these things before you go and rush an idea where you don't know how to do stuff yet. So, that kind of got us into puppet making. Like, okay, this is how you do it. Like, this is how we make it look like a replication of, another human being. So doing stuff like that definitely helped us kind of like get good at puppet making, I guess, as wacky as it sounds. Drawing wise, I grew up on Microsoft Paint.
Nice.
Rest in peace,
Same.
Paint.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like going
Yeah,
like during
drawing a whole,
like
like,
during
bunch of
class,
script.
like you'd
Yep.
be doing an assignment, you would like pull up Paint and be drawing something, and then your teacher would walk by and you'd minimize it right away.
Yep, and you get Microsoft Word up like, no, I was doing
Oh
this
yeah,
all
I
the
was
time."
typing out whatever I was supposed to be.
Yep. But Suyayin's class, writing for the media, I was drawing an octopus the entire semester, and I think that octopus turned out pretty cool. Find the time to, make stuff and make it happen.
So what you're saying is during class, don't do your work.
Draw.
Well, yes and no.
We're not telling you that, but
Just
we're telling you that.
But
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Just keep working at stuff, and practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
with everything.
Question on that, like a follow-up question. Do you know how to write for the media?
Not really. I'm a
I wonder
terrible
why.
writer.
I wonder why. Wonder
Yeah.
where that went.
Oh well.
I mean, you got to send me the picture of the octopus so I can put it on the screen right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that.
So everybody can see it.
This is the octopus.
Although
I'm
poor
pointing.
podcast listeners,
is.
Yes.
it's on Will's face now. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
you guys
sound an
made me
octopus
ink.
makes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Steve. Well, we appreciate you coming out and being on.
Absolutely.
This won't be the last time you're on as well because
Excellent.
I mean, I don't think we know offhand right now any other animators. So if the Freelance Network ever needs a resident animator or a question to be answered, we got you.
All
We're
right.
going to call you up. So right now, before we go, though, check out that camera right there and tell all these lovely viewers and listeners where they can find you.
Okay. So you can find the music video for Ty Goes to the Runner on their YouTube channel, Ty Goes to the Runner. The song is called Wolf. Ty Goes to the Runner released an album. Every single video has a music video, or every single song has a music video, rather. So check all of them out. All the other content creators are great too. But you can also find us on Zonked. That's where the animation is. Check out Chili Cave. That is where the Star Wars little video is. And check out STR Videos. Don't check out STR Video though. That's like a almost porn YouTube page. So I think I need to like rebrand myself here. STR Videos. My picture is the puppet. It's not like a stripper or something. So check me out.
There's a big difference between puppets and strippers, am I
There
right?
is a big difference.
Yeah.
A stripper puppet.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's a good idea.
Oh,
That's his
STR
next video.
Videos might need a collab.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, well, Steve, we appreciate it. All those links will be in the description just because they're on various platforms, so we want to send them the right way.
That's right.
So we appreciate everybody for watching or listening. Thank you again, Steve, for being on, and
Thank
we'll
you
see
for
everybody
having me.
soon.
Bye.